everyone, Kelly here with She Learns Video, and today we are going to be popping over to our computers to take a look at iMovie. So iMovie is a great tool that you can utilize for free if you have a Mac, and if you're just getting started with videography, it can be a really great option to start putting films together. This video in particular is going to have 5 tips that you can really utilize to improve your videos in iMovie. So if you've maybe done a few edits over there and you really just want more out of it and want it to look a little bit better, I'm hoping these tips will help you to take your footage to the next level while still utilizing the entry-level iMovie software. So let's pull up iMovie and we can take a look. All right, so here we are in iMovie, and when you open it up, you will see your projects here, or you can create a new one. This is the project that I already have created, so we're going to click here. And this will open up just a little family film that I put together for a client of mine. And I'm going to show you the 5 different tips that I would encourage you to utilize if you're not utilizing them already in order to improve the quality of your films and really just get the most out of the iMovie tool. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is actually go over here to audio. And if you are familiar with iMovie at all, you may realize that under sound effects, they actually have a variety of different songs or music that you can utilize for your film. This one I have down here is called Playful, and it is a little tune that's provided to you in iMovie, so you can just add it in easily. There's a variety of different jingles, and you can sort them based on the length. You can also look for things like sound effects, such as, ocean sounds, ambient sounds, stuff like that. But here is my tip. My tip is that you actually don't utilize any of this music from iMovie. It's just really not going to be the best fit for the majority of films that you're creating, whether you're a family photographer, a brand videographer, or somebody who is creating films for any type of photography-based client or corporate work. I think that you're going to be much better served by going over to the YouTube audio library. And here you'll see this YouTube Studio audio library, and this just has a lot more options and it is still free to use. So in here you can sort by anything from genre to mood, duration, and all of these are going to be legal for you to utilize on the internet, and you're not going to have to worry about breaking any laws with the licenses. And the benefit is that it's all free, so you don't have to pay to use this resource. You're just going to download the files that you want to add into your film, and then you will drop them over into iMovie. So just a little tip there. In the beginning, when I was starting out with iMovie, I relied heavily on some of these little jingles in here when I didn't know about the YouTube audio library. Once I learned about the YouTube audio library, I utilized that, and then eventually I upgraded to using Soundstripe and Artlist, which are both paid options, but have a really robust library of music for you to choose from. Okay, the next tip I have here is going to be on color. So this is the color of your films. If you feel like when you go into edit, the color's just not looking how you want it, maybe for some reason you didn't get the white balance right in camera and you want to adjust it. And this tool up here is the color correction slider panel. And in here you can adjust the white balance a little bit. You can adjust the saturation. And obviously, as you see, you start to push these, they really can start to look a little bit funky. So you want to make sure that you're getting it as close to perfect in camera as possible. But if you do need to make some slight adjustments, these sliders here really help to perfect your footage and give it that professional feel. The sliders over here are going to help you adjust things like shadows and highlights, your contrast and your exposure. So I would definitely play around with these and really get it to fit the look that you want. Another tip here is that if you're just way too intimidated by the sliders and you just feel like you can't get it to look the way you want it to, you can go up here to this little magic wand. The other option is to click over into this panel here, and you can choose auto, and that's going to give you an auto color adjustment. So for me, this is a little oversaturated. I will say that if you do the auto adjustment or the magic wand, which these do the same thing, you may want to pop back over here and drop down your saturation, or adjust your white balance to make sure that the color looks how you want it and gives it that cohesive look. So I would go through clip by clip on any film that I'm creating in iMovie and just make sure the colors look how I want them to. Again, if you want to use this magic wand or the auto option to adjust, I do think a lot of times it's very beneficial and can really help out with the footage. Again, I do think if you pop on the auto filter, you are going to want to bump down the saturation. It just makes it a little too saturated for my taste personally. Obviously, every single person is different, but a nice option and really gives you some flexibility in making these films your own, giving you a style if you want to adjust those or trying to match kind of more the look of your photos if you're also a photographer. Okay, my next tip is going to show you how to stabilize your footage. So if you are a shaky shooter and you don't have any type of stabilizing tools such as a monopod or tripod, maybe you're using a stretchy camera strap like I recommend and you just feel like you got a shot that you really love, but it's very shaky, iMovie has a great tool for this. So you're going to click on the clip that looks maybe a little bit shaky, and then you're going to go up here to this camera and it says stabilization, click there. And then here you can click to stabilize your shaky video. And you can put on, what percentage you want. I usually keep it right here around 33. And you're going to see how it punches in just a little bit and it's going to stabilize the look of your footage so that it's a little bit smoother. So I love that tool. I used this a ton when I was first getting started. Obviously, if you have a more advanced video editing program such as Premiere Pro, there are additional options for stabilizing shaky footage, but for iMovie, I think this is an awesome addition to the program and something that's very helpful for new videographers. Okay, so the next tip I have here is going to be an audio tip. And if you go up here into the noise reduction and equalizer panel, you can see there is an option here to reduce the background noise. And I am going to go ahead and click that. You'll see how down here the audio file will adjust just a little bit when I click it. So I'll unclick it again and then re-click it. And you can see it's just taken out some of that background noise. So when I play it, you don't hear a lot of the wind, you just hear the mom saying, they're having fun, they're blowing bubbles. So this would be really beneficial if there's a lot of wind in your audio. Maybe you're shooting outside and it's a blustery day, or maybe there's some sort of background noise if you're shooting at an event or in someone's home even, like there could be a dryer running or even audio you just don't want. These are going to be tools that you're utilizing a lot of times when you're working in more advanced editing softwares, but iMovie does give you this ability to reduce some of the noise in the background. And you can adjust this here. The other thing you might want to do is depending on what you are adjusting, so if it's a voice that you're trying to enhance, you could click this and you can play around here with these different options. Usually I'm just choosing flat or voice enhance if I want to reduce the background noise and enhance the audio that I'm trying to capture. The other thing here with the audio is you can adjust the volume. So I have put the volume up pretty high. When I recorded it, it was at a lower level. So I'm just trying to make the most of the audio from this clip, and then reducing that background noise really helps to separate out the noise that I want to hear, which is the voice of the mom, and the noise I don't want to hear, which is any type of background noise during the clip. Okay, so my last little tip here is with transitions, and you'll see here I have the two little girls blowing bubbles. The older one is blowing bubbles here, and then eventually we switch and go over to the little girl blowing the bubbles. Okay, because these two clips are shot from a very similar angle and I wanted to put a cut in here between the older girl and the younger girl, I added in this little transition to just kind of move between the two. So you can see it there. And this transition here, if you go up under transitions, this is a cross dissolve between the two clips, and I've just placed that here. So this gives you a great opportunity to dissolve between two clips. And I will say I use these pretty sparingly. I tend to use them to avoid what are called jump cuts. So if I just went from this clip to this clip, The subject is changing, so this is the older girl, this is the younger girl, but my position did not change. So that is a jump cut, because obviously at some point the bubble wand went from the older girl to the younger girl, but I don't show that in the film. So in order to make the jump cut a little more attractive or the moment a little less distracting, I put in this little transition to show that there is some transition between the bubble wand in her arms to the bubble wand in her hands. The other cool thing about transitions, I will say in iMovie they have a ton of different options. I encourage you not to use the majority of them because I think they're very dramatic and kind of silly to some extent. This, spinning things out is crazy. Not something I would really ever use in my film unless I wanted it for kind of a silly, fun effect. I tend to use this cross dissolve. I think the cross blur can also work. And then these fade to black and fade to white. Those are kind of the four that I utilize right here. So you'll see also here at the end, I could easily put in this fade to white between the two clips here, and you'll see this clip will fade to white, and then my logo pops up. So I have put a little white screen behind my logo here. I've just put in a white box in the background, and then I've put my logo right here on top. And prior to that, I am having it, the whole movie, fade to white. So we'll see what that looks like here. Perfect. So that makes it a nice little ending there. So I hope that using transitions will give you the ability to make your films look a little smoother, a little more polished, and a little more professional. I think all of these tips are really, really beneficial when you're first starting out in iMovie, and I know if I had had these 5 different tools and utilized them to the best of my ability in the beginning, my films would have looked a lot better and a lot more polished. So I hope that's helpful. I will say I have a full edit in iMovie also on the YouTube channel, so go over and check that out if you want to walk through this full edit and see beginning to end how I put together a film in iMovie. It is a great tutorial and essentially like a free little masterclass for you to get started with using iMovie. Thanks so much for watching.